Hey you guys, what's up? My name is Meteor and today I'm going to be talking about this month's bingo. The very first bingo for 2024. So first of all, the challenge I'm talking about is Hypixel Skyblock's bingo. Bingo, for all those who don't yet know, is a game mode that opens up every month on the very first day of the month. So basically you create a brand new profile on Skyblock and then have to achieve a total of 25 different unique goals that change with every single month. The profile is then to be played on for 1 or in special cases even 2 weeks, and the main reason you do so is to acquire bingo points. These points can be acquired by completing tasks or task rows and then can be exchanged on your main profile for either a higher bingo rank, which helps you out a lot in future bingo events, or for certain items like for example the highly sought after spring boots or the bingo relic. Alrighty, so now that we established what bingo is, here's a quick look at this month's bingo card. It's 25 tasks in a regular bingo event, which means you will have up to 7 days to complete it, and if you do so, you will be rewarded with a bingo card. Now the reason I decided to make this video is because bingo is currently by far my most favorite event in all of Skyblock. And since I'm preparing quite a bit before the beginning of every single bingo, I wanted to share my preparations and maybe help you out with a couple of tips and tricks on how to complete the bingo the easiest or even the fastest way possible. Let's jump right into the preparation. Here's the task list once again, and as you can see there's various tasks that can be combined into major directions. These directions specifically are foraging with the dark oak wood collection, garden with the carrot collection, mining with the crystal hollows as you can see from the topaz crystal task, and then lastly combat, which is probably the most tedious one with 15,000 kills. Most of these tasks luckily include a variety of subtasks, which is basically a task that you will almost without a doubt complete in the meantime, the perfect example being the lumberjack task, which will automatically be completed whenever you complete the dark oak wood collection, as gaining 100,000 collection will get you way more XP than you will need for foraging level 10. With this in mind, let's quickly cover this month's bingo card in at least my assessment of the task's difficulty. The easiest tasks in this month's bingo are the following. Speed, health and strength are all acquired by simply using a decent armor enchanted with growth 5, a decent sword with the epic reforged, and a so-called god splash, which is a splash of all existing potions in the game. I've linked a couple of discords that offer free god splashes during bingo, and you can feel free to join one or even all of them. Relics in the Spider's Den are a fast way to get money early, and here I'd recommend to get the Skytils mod, which offers free waypoints for all these existing relics. Pair up and skilled are combined and simply completed by using the experimentation table, which I would highly recommend to do as early on as possible, as it levels your bingo pet quite a bit and you also earn a lot of coins from the enchanting skill. Lastly, on easy we have Kill Enderman, which is most certainly completed automatically when you reach the end and you kill your very first Enderman. Moving on to the medium task, you will find most of the tasks being here. Carrot Collector is as simple as it gets. Get into the garden, place down some carrots farmed in the hub in the cave underneath the mountain, and save up some before you clear out the plot to replant them again. Sadly, this major direction doesn't include any subtasks, but that also makes it pretty straightforward. Endstone Collector, collecting data and experience kinda go hand in hand, because not only is the fastest way to collect endstone the shiny nodes in the end, but it's also how you obtain a Titanic experience bottle. And here you can decide to avoid the RNG factor of the Titanic bottle by simply grinding lapis by yourself, but 32,000 endstone should give you a fairly high chance of getting a Titanic bottle in the meantime. And collecting data is most certainly not a hard task, but getting to the end should also assure you to at least have enough mobs to be able to obtain it very easily, and if not then, the Spider's Den, where you will most certainly end up if you want to complete 15,000 kills, is going to finish off the job. Powder Collector and Topaz Crystal also share a direction, namely mining. Powder Collector has 2 ways of being obtained, and both are pretty simple. The first one being simply using the daily powder you get from the Fetcher NPC and the Puzzler NPC during a 2x powder event, which will assure you at least 4,000 powder per day, whereas the rest of it will most certainly be obtained by mithril mining tasks, or once you reach the crystal hollows, which is also the second option, you can simply run through a couple of structures and find mithril powder in predefined chests. The green gold task also follows the mining direction, but there's sadly only one effective way, which is mining. And the best way to do so is in the dwarven mines up on the cards right above spawn. Another option would be minions, but I personally wouldn't recommend to use those. Next up we have the hard tasks, and these only exist of 4, but they pack quite a punch. Dark oak wood collector, another major direction, namely foraging, is a task that's straightforward, but here I have a couple of tips for you. Not only would I recommend to focus on dark oak minions, but I would recommend to do so very early on. Another factor in this task, which should definitely kept in mind, is the bingo pet. Starting from the very beginning, even in its common rarity, the bingo pet has a unique effect granting you up to 25% more collection from any source depending on its level, and this means that if you start going for collections, I would recommend to do it whenever you already have a high leveled bingo pet, as you will save quite a bit on collections. Lastly, even if you place down minions, you will most certainly end up having to grind out at least a bit of the collection by hand. And here my personal advice is to go for the jungle axe, as even if it seems like a waste of time in some people's mind, I personally find the time well spent, as it makes foraging much more enjoyable and relaxed. The remaining tasks might not seem too connected, but they all in a way are. They all focus on the major direction, combat, and here's why. 15,000 kills, no matter what you do, will take up quite a bit of time, and the best way to achieve it is to visit the spider's den and then just simply use a dreadlord sword obtained in dungeons combined with a super cleaver. As an armor set, it's best to either combine 3/4 of wise ender armor combined with a shadow goggle acquired in a dungeon hub, or you could replace the wise ender armor with the even better starlight set, which is acquired from Rosetta, which you will most certainly already have, as it's a pretty good option for the fashionable task. And talking about the fashionable task, here's a list of easy obtainable armor sets and their requirements. The reason I include this in the combat direction is because even if a couple of the armor sets are acquired by farming, most of the easy ones require money, and that's mostly, at least whenever you start getting to the 15,000 kills made with combat. The last hard task, being bedazzled, is also not really combat related, as most of the accessories in my list, seen here, are acquired elsewhere, but my recommendation is to acquire these before getting into the exterminator task, as even if it's not necessarily needed, it's a great help with the right power stone, and it might make up for quite a bit of a difference. Alrighty, as you can see, we also have a couple of tasks left out, and that's because I would call these tasks side tasks. The reason for that being the fact that all of these tasks are either acquired, like I said earlier, as a subtasks to some other task, or they are obtained quite easily, but should just not be forgotten about. I'll skip the lumberjack task, as we already covered it with the dark oak wood collection, and also the dwarven defender is pretty self-explanatory. A lost cause on the other side is a bit different. Here, as you most certainly want to visit the dungeon anyways to obtain the dreadlord sword, I'd recommend to get a friend to help you out tank the damage, and then simply use your mage's thunderstorm ability to kill down a lost adventurer. Lucky Looter is probably a task that you will also acquire without any attention to it, as 15,000 kills of anything will most certainly give you a more than decent chance to getting a 1% drop, but if you actually manage to get this as your last task, the best option to go for this goal is probably to just simply grind out zombies in the hub's graveyard, as even potatoes and carrots dropped by them count towards the 1% chance. Last but not least, we have Goblin's Treasure, and even though this also seems like a task you might be able to complete by simply spawning golden goblins during your mining tasks in the dwarven mines, it shouldn't be forgotten. The best way nowadays to obtain goblin eggs are chests in the structures in the goblins hideout, which can be connected with the powder collector's task. The eggs then have a 2% chance of spawning golden goblins, and from that point on, it's just simply good luck. Alrighty, if you're still here and just some of the stuff I talked about was helpful in the slightest to you, then I'd really appreciate a like. And if you're interested to getting more bingo guides every month from now, then feel free to subscribe as well. So now that we're done discussing every single task of this month's bingo card, here's a simple step-by-step guide on how to start this month's bingo adventure. The start of every bingo adventure is pretty similar, no matter what rank and no matter what tasks. So this 5-step guide is what I normally tend to almost use at any given time. Now that we are well equipped with potions and tools, we can start our adventure. And this month's adventure, like I said, has a ton of directions. If you're, for example, looking to complete the bingo, but you start very late, you'll obviously have a harder time. The regular route I would recommend to guarantee getting done with every single task in this month's bingo is as follows. Depending on your time management, you can start by working towards your dark oak minions if you don't have too much time to grind. Otherwise, I would recommend starting by working towards the dwarven mines. This is also where your daily mithril powder and your 4 daily mining tasks await you. The fastest way to achieve access to the dwarven mines is by mining sand in the desert. After you arrive in the dwarven mines, you would want to warp back into the desert. And here you can do 2 things. Start a quest with the trapper to achieve a single pelt for the community goal, and start breaking mushroom blocks with your silk touch golden axe, and you can either stop directly after acquiring the mushroom armor recipe, or you can keep on going until you unlock the night vision charm recipe. And now the directions start splitting apart, and it's your own choice to go down any path you want. Fulfill your daily mining tasks to get an easy access to the crystal hollows after 3 days of tasks. Work towards accessing the Ender Island by killing ice walkers, and then continue so with Endermen to acquire end armor. From that point on, this can be continued until you reach level 15 to access the dungeon and start grinding for a dreadlord sword, or use the End Island and start working on shiny nodes. The only thing I would keep for later on is the Emerald Ring, the Dark Oak collection, and the Carrot collection, as like I stated earlier, earlier, it's easier to achieve with a higher level bingo pet. For lower bingo ranked players, I would recommend to consider crafting sets by focusing on at least one cow minion early on, especially if the bingo, just like this one, contains a ton of collections within its tasks. Here's one last look at this month's bingo card, and I wish you all the very best of luck for it. As this was my very first YouTube video though, I would highly appreciate any sort of feedback, and if you have any questions, then feel free to ask them down in the comment section below. That's it for now, and I guess I'll see ya.